Hey everyone, we're back and we're going to talk about the other two principles of design when it comes to fashion. We went over balance, harmony, and emphasis, and now we're going to look at proportion and rhythm. So first, when we're talking about proportion, there's a lot of information that goes with it because we're looking at proportion in relation to the clothes that we put on our body, and we're going to break apart our body and look at the different ratios to it, and then we also talk about proportion when it comes to the different parts of a particular garment. So first, we're going to look at it in reference to scale of the human body. So the fancy definition of scale or proportion, same thing, is basically how separate parts of a garment relate to each other and then to the whole in size. So we're talking about one part of an outfit should not be out of scale with the other. So that's kind of thinking like if you wear a big baggy t-shirt with short shorts, those are way out of proportion. The shorts either need to be longer, their shirt needs to be shorter, or maybe more tailored, but that's out of proportion. It just visually does not look appealing. And it's kind of like our brains are like, this is like the wrong sizes for everything, and it kind of magically wants to fix the sizes, but we can't. So we also know that unequal parts are more interesting. So when we're talking about the ratio of our clothing, and what that looks like, we like the fact that it's not exactly half is the top and exactly half is the bottom. Actually, the unequal parts are way more interesting, but it also looks like a more polished look. So we're going to talk about art history for a second because it applies directly to fashion design. So we know that throughout art history, the human body has been drawn as 8 heads tall. That's literally taking the human head and then stacking it up 8 times. And for the most part, that's about the size of a human. And because each of our head shapes are kind of different, it kind of works. So we know that 3/8 of that height was from the true waist up. So basically 3 of those heads are from the true waist up. And if you guys look over at this picture, everyone thinks that your waist is like way down here where your pants actually hip. That's actually your hip or your high hip. Hopefully now it's more of your high hip. Back in the early 2000s, we had the travesty of a trend called hip hugger jeans, and basically everyone's butt crack showed all the time. It was not. We're going to keep that in the early 2000s, okay? We're not going to bring that into this decade. But your true waist is actually way up here. So if you were to take your hands and run it along your torso, the smallest part of your hands going in, that is your true waist. So shorts nowadays, ladies, you'll see it more. They're called high-waisted shorts. They're actually not high-waisted. Think of them more as a true waist short. So the tops of your shorts are actually coming up to your true waist. So your waist is higher up than you think. So if you look over here at this diagram, your waist is way up here. So it's saying that 3 heads, think of 3 heads are stacked, and it would be right here. So here's 1, 2, and 3. So you're looking at 3/8 right there, 3 heads. That is the upper portion of your body. The other 5 sections of your body are going to be from the true waist and down. So that would include your waist, your thighs, your calves, your ankles, all the way down to the soles of your feet. So if you counted between the blue, the solid, and the dotted lines, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know it's correct because 5 plus 3 equals 8, and that's how many parts there are. So we're looking at that as in proportion of the whole human body. Okay, and that's how we get a really common ratio is a 3-to-5 ratio. Okay, so 3 parts is going to be the top or the blouse or your shirt, your hoodie, whatever, and then the 5 parts are typically going to be your pants or your bottoms. This from your waist down is all going to be considered the bottom part. Okay, your 5 parts on that. So up here at this, we have right here, this belt is a great way to show where her true waist is. And so from the belt up is 3 parts, belt down is 5 parts. And she's got the full pant leg there with the shoes. Same thing over here. So that's proportions to the human body. Now we're going to look at proportions to the actual accessories on a garment to the garment itself. So when we combine garments and accessories in an outfit, we want to make sure the proportion of each variable should be weighed. So for example, a tiny pocket, like I'm talking a little itty bitty tiny pocket, maybe the size of like half of your guys' cell phones, okay? That would look way out of proportion on a really large, heavy jacket. Okay, think about a big winter coat with an itty bitty tiny pocket that's like 3 inches big. Number one, the pocket is useless at that point. And number two, it would just look way out of place. It would literally look like you took a child's pocket and put it on an adult's jacket. It just wouldn't look right. We also, too, look at the length of a jacket. So again, talking about wintertime, not all the jackets are at your guys' hips and up. You have people that like the longer trench coat jackets or pea coats, things like that. So the length of the jacket, when you purchase it, you need to keep in mind the length of the pants that you're going to be wearing with it, the length of the whole outfit in general, and then the height of the person wearing it. As much as I would love to own a trench coat, you guys, I am 5'4". It would have to be a very tailored trench coat to fit me, because if I wear something too long, it's going to look like I'm playing in a giant's closet. So you want to make sure that you find a jacket that's going to fit your style, but also that's going to look great on you too. So I'm 5'4". I would probably do really well with the pea coat, which is a shorter jacket that's kind of right at your true hips, which is it's the widest part of your torso and kind of bottom area. So a pea coat, about that length, maybe a tad shorter than that, inch or two shorter than that, that would look really great on somebody who's shorter. So the longer jacket doesn't make me seem even tinier. So looking at over on this first example, everything else looks kind of okay proportion-wise. The sleeves look a little long, but that's not terrible. This could also be sitting a lot higher up. But then you have this gigantic neckline. This folded over kind of turtleneck neckline here. I honestly couldn't even tell you guys how that is standing up right now. But that is huge. Okay, this is literally probably half the size of the whole garment in general. Yes, this is on a fashion runway, but when you talk about proportion, this is way out of proportion. This is not something you would see, kind of everyday people wearing. All right. We also have to keep in mind, too, the accessories that we pair with our outfits, and kind of keep in mind that you pair with yourself as well. They should be in proportion. So really, really big belts on tiny, small, short women, not the best idea. Think of, so that was a really big trend probably in the mid 2000s, probably about 2008, 2009. And so large belts on basically super large overdone things on petite women tends to make them look even smaller. But then if you put teeny tiny accessories on really tall women, it's going to look like they're playing with children's toys, or men as well. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind, that you want to make sure it's looking in proportion. So over here, if you look to the right, as cute as this bag is, that's pretty much a duffel bag that she's wearing. It's a gigantic bag, and the big bag trend was going around for a while, and probably about 2010, 2012, right around there. So this bag is just way out of proportion to her. She's very small and petite. Honestly, this bag is going to be out of proportion to anybody, whether you are 5'4" or 6'2". That's just a big bag in general. Okay. So the last principle that we're going to look at is rhythm. And rhythm is a really fun one because you get to see a lot of patterns, and you get to actually look at the prints of the garments themselves. So when we talk about rhythm, rhythm is when we use rhythm, it's moving our eyes gently from one area of the garment to another. So there's multiple ways that we can see rhythm or that we can show rhythm. So we've got repetition, which is just a pattern repeating over and over and over again. So I want you guys to think about a checkerboard, think about geometric shapes, but it's just your pattern that you see again and again and again. Gradation is when the pattern changes gradually in size and color. So think about kind of like an also work well with shapes. So you can go the different sizes of different shapes and other patterns and stuff like that. Transition. That's when we see curved lines leads the eye over an angle. So think of puffy sleeves. So kind of think of a really fitted top, and then your sleeves are looser, or the big puffy sleeves. And I've got examples on the next slides to show you guys. But what it does is everything is kind of very sharp, and then you've got these sweet sleeves that they come over the arm because your arms are, again, your shoulders and stuff are curved. So with that puffy sleeve, it's kind of a smoother transition. Opposition, these are all these kind of straight lines or harsh lines that tend to form right angles. Like there's very much a point to everything. So think of plaids or like check marks that can come down. And I want you guys to keep in mind too that sometimes whenever we see this rhythm, these different ways to show rhythm, they can kind of double dip. So if you look at plaids, that's that pattern kind of still repeating. Think of like a buffalo plaid, which is a black and white, or I'm sorry, the black and red plaid you see really commonly around the holidays. That is a plaid, so it would fall under more of opposition, but also it's a pattern that repeats over and over and over again. So it'd be repetition as well. So that's like a double doozy there. It goes under both categories. And some of these can fall under multiple categories. And the last one is called a radial arrangement. It's also been called radiation as well. But basically, you have like a central point, and then you have lines or some type, maybe it's a different type of texture, things like that, that emerge from that central point. So think of ruffles. And here's some examples of all of them. So here's gradation on the left with this outfit from Jessica Simpson. This is years ago. But we're going that transition from really dark to light and then back to dark to light. So it does it with color because the shape stays the same size throughout the entire outfit. So this would be done through color. This is repetition, if you guys, and I've also labeled them all. There's gradation, repetition's right down there. Of course, my little pop-up keeps happening, but repetition, this is the same pattern. It just repeats over and over and over again. All right, right here's a radial arrangement. So this is the one where it starts at a central point and then kind of has lines flowing outwards. I purposely found ruffles, because ruffles can also fall under another one as well, but this is just a great example. Think of your central point as the neckline right here. If you were to lay this dress and look from the top down, your radial point would be the neckline right here. And then these ruffles are like really, really short. And then each layer gets longer and longer and longer. Because they're getting longer, they also tend to kind of take their weight and go down rather than stick out like these over here. So it's these lines that come out from that central point. Transition right here, again, you have a fitted top, a lot of harsh lines, and you kind of have those puffy sleeves. So that's that transition from one to the other. And then opposition. These are those like kind of harsher straight lines. Again, just because I say it's harsher, I'm just trying to point out that it's much more, I guess I should say it's much more obvious to see opposition. There's not really meant to be like a smooth transition of like your eye moving. It's supposed to be harsher. So you can definitely see these solid lines. They're 90-degree angles. They go straight down. There's different shapes on there that are really trying to stand out. Hey guys, so I'm going to talk about this super quick. I've done something slightly different where I've added your assignment to the bottom of your notes. So sorry this is a little choppy. I've just been trying to edit things and just kind of get straight to the point. So I'm going to explain your assignment really quick. So here was the last slide that we went over. We talked about opposition. And then if you click on slide 10, here's your actual assignment. So the directions are right here. Again, I want you to go through your wardrobe. We're going to be doing that a lot over the next couple of weeks. And you're going to put together, in this one complete outfit that fits a 3-to-5 proportion ratio. Review it. To review that, scroll right back up and take a look at it. If you don't want to post your own clothes, then find an image online. Then you're going to answer the prompt on that proportion slide and then upload the image as well. Then you're going to go through your wardrobe and find 2 different examples of ways to show rhythm. So there were like 5 or 6 different ways that we went over. They're right up here. So there's 5 ways. You need to find 2 different ones, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down. You're going to take a picture of them. Again, if you don't want to do yours, then find an image online. You're going to answer the prompts on the rhythm slide, which actually I need to go back and edit one of them. So the type of rhythm, and then it says what type does your rhythm show. You can put repetition there as well. I will probably fix this real quick before I upload it. So it'll just say type of rhythm number 1, and then your second one will say type of rhythm number 2, because I do want 2 examples of rhythms on their own slides. So this box will be gone. Other than that, you guys will be able to type in this box right here in the editing mode, put the picture right there, and then turn in when complete. Any questions? You guys know to email me.